Hey guys, this is MugenLord here, and I just wanted to do a video just talking a bit about Arc System Work and how proud I am of this company, because personally I never really invested in any time when it came to this company at all until just very recently, and we want to dive in a little bit of details about that. But before we dive into this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and a notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. Now this video is going to be a bit different. This video is pretty much unscripted. I'm going off the top of my head. I just want to get a little personal with you guys and just talk about my overall experience with Arc System Works as a company altogether, and how I've just grew to love this company and just respect what they're doing. You know, they are that underdog, or they are the alternative. And besides, I'm not going to discredit SNK as well, but they are truly the underdog when it comes to fighting games in the fighting game genre, because as you would know, more so Capcom and I would say Bandai Namco really takes the charge when it comes to the fighting game genre altogether. When you think of a fighting game, you would, well, I would say Japanese fighting game company, you would think either Capcom or Bandai Namco with their respective titles of the Street Fighter franchise and of course the Tekken franchise. Now if you want to talk about the Western side of things, I would say, okay, well, NetherRealm Studios with Mortal Kombat, or you know, Killer Instincts, but Microsoft really haven't really put a dent in anything as far as Killer Instincts, which they haven't really taken advantage of that, because it's too bad. I mean, Killer Instincts is a really good game on the Xbox One and the PC, and we're still waiting for a sequel for that. But when it comes to Arc System Works, I really had no real connection or memories of the past Arc System Works. It's because, I don't know, it was something about fighting games at the time where I really didn't spend much time and investment in fighting games. And like I said before, if you're new to this channel, I've always been an RPG gamer. That's all I play is RPG, more specifically JRPGs. And over time, I've grown to love to play fighting games, and I played fighting games a long time ago casually. I wasn't really deep into them, but every game night I would hang with my uncles, my cousins, and my dad, and we all get together like every Wednesday and Friday, and we just play fighting games all day. And our first fighting game was Fighting Masters on the Sega Genesis, and then of course Street Fighter 2, so forth and so on. And fighting games have pretty much dominated my youth, all the way to, you know, to teenage to adulthood, when it came to just hanging around and socially gathering as a group. But when it came to Japanese companies that create and develop fighting games, Arc System Works was nowhere to be found during our game night. Never. You never found an Arc System Works game at all. And I don't know, it was something about Arc System Works, I guess, that really never really caught on to me at all, and that was with Guilty Gear. And even though Guilty Gear looked beautiful, especially at the time that it was first released, it was just something about Guilty Gear that really just didn't grab onto me. I like some of the characters, but I think for it to be a sci-fi anime type fighter, some of the character designs was just very weird, and it just didn't really stick to me at all. And I think this is also during a time where I started going away from 2D sprites, and especially during game night, we more so started going into more like 3D fighters, where he's playing a lot of Street Fighter EX, we was playing Tekken, and we was also playing especially Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive took over the household during game night because of the 4-player multiplayer action that was, you know, available during that time, especially with Dead or Alive 2 on Dreamcast, and then onto the Xbox, we played a lot of Dead or Alive. So that took over. 3D fighters definitely took over. So when Guilty Gear was finally released, you know, I wasn't really looking in the direction of playing 2D sprite fighting games. So it's sad that I pretty much missed out on it. The title, which we haven't seen in a while, because after a while, you know, Guilty Gear kind of went quiet, or I would say Arc System Works kind of went quiet, in my personal opinion. And fighting games in general kind of like died down a little bit, you know, and that's what I moved on to Mugen. Mugen is where I got most of my, I guess you would say, fighting game knowledge. I learned a whole variety of different fighting games because of the, you know, the various different characters that, you know, you're able to download and create and put into your Mugen roster. That's where I got most of my, you know, fighting game knowledge from. Like, I didn't really know much about SNK, which I'll do an SNK and Capcom video much later. Now, I grew up, you know, with, you know, SNK through the Fatal Fury animes, but that was about it. So I really didn't play any other SNK games except for Samurai Showdown. But because of Mugen, I have pretty much got most of my fighting game knowledge, and that would go as far as Arc System Works is concerned. Like, my real relationship with Arc System Works and Guilty Gear was through Mugen, because I liked the Guilty Gear sprites and the characters, and they just fit so well in my Mugen roster. So I downloaded a bunch of Guilty Gear characters, or I was trying to hunt around the internet looking for Guilty Gear characters, and I had them in my roster. So that was my only relationship when it came to Arc System Works and Guilty Gears. But things did change once Capcom, appeared back on the scene once again with Street Fighter 4. Now, I know that Tekken had pretty much held it down for quite some time when it came to fighting games, with Soul Calibur as well. But when Capcom comes back, that's when the fighting game genre, pretty much had its new renaissance once again, once Street Fighter 4 released. And when that happened, it also brought back a lot of other fighting game franchises to make a return. We seen Mortal Kombat 9, but more specifically from Arc System Works, we did see BlazBlue. Now with BlazBlue, this was my perfect chance to actually get into an Arc System Works game, and I really wanted to get into it. And I found it kind of interesting that they decided to do BlazBlue but not do a new Guilty Gear game. And this is before I realized that there was some, I guess you say, rights issue between Arc System Works, I think Sega Sammy or whatever like that, where they couldn't get the rights to Guilty Gear or something. I could be wrong, but you can correct me in the comment sections below. So they decided to make a brand new franchise that's pretty much inspired by Guilty Gear, or somewhat some type of connection somehow to Guilty Gear, which is BlazBlue. So I thought, hey, this is probably my chance to actually get into a BlazBlue game. And then once BlazBlue came out, I bought the game for the Xbox 360, and I've also bought a tournament edition stick, because I was going through my tournament edition stick craze where I was just buying a bunch of different arcade sticks. But I bought a BlazBlue. I also did a review on it on my channel as well. You can go check it out when I was in college at the time. And I thought this was going to be an opportunity for me to actually jump into the game and actually, give it a try. But for some reason, I could never find a character that really stuck out to me. And it felt as though that Arc System Works with BlazBlue had the same effect on me that Guilty Gear had. It just didn't pull me. I'm not sure it was the characters. I don't know, in the convoluted story. I don't know what it was, but for some reason, Arc System and their fighting games was just not sticking with me at all. I just could not appreciate it or whatever. So I pretty much decided to step away, step back, and I moved on and just continued to play, Street Fighter 4, and then once Tekken 6 and Soul Calibur released, I stuck with those games, but I pretty much completely ignored Arc System Works. And that's when we fast forward to more recent times. We finally got a chance to, give Arc System Works another chance, and that was with Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, the interesting thing about it is, I respect Arc System Works especially when it comes to their sprites, and I know people love the gameplay. Now, I remember there was a Dragon Ball fighting game that was for the Game Boy DS or the 3DS, I believe, that was made by Arc System Works, and I seen a lot of these characters ported over to Mugen, and I just love the sprite designs, because they had Dragon Ball characters, they even had One Piece characters. These were all Arc System Works sprites, and I'm like, why would they make this for a handheld but not make an actual Dragon Ball fighting game? I think that would be interesting to see something like that from Arc System Works, because they've done a good job with the character sprites, and I have mostly all the characters in Mugen, and then somebody made a project of One Piece versus Dragon Ball Z, and they're all from the Arc System Works games that came out on the DS or the 3DS, I believe. So we look at Dragon Ball FighterZ, and we heard the rumors that Arc System Works is working on a Dragon Ball fighting game, and we finally see the first debut trailer during E3 a few years ago. I was just completely floored, because this was something that I was always waiting for, and I believe what Arc System have done with Dragon Ball FighterZ, I believe what they have done for everybody else who wasn't on the Arc System Works train at the time, because they really pumped the gears up. And I know I probably skipped something. Guilty Gear XR, that was another one that still didn't stick with me, but Dragon Ball FighterZ what really did it for me. It really did. And I enjoy every aspect of Dragon Ball FighterZ, despite some of the issues that it does have. But overall, I enjoyed the game, and the attention to detail and the much love that they added to Dragon Ball FighterZ and adding the tag team mechanics to the game. I really enjoyed every aspect of it, and it brought together different players from different fighting game communities. You had people from the Smash community, Tekken community, Street Fighter community, the Marvel vs. Capcom community. Everybody came together to play this game, and they've done a pretty damn good job with that. And ever since that happened, I started going back revisiting a lot of Arc System games. I went back and started playing Xrd, Revelator too. And I also started looking around fishing to give BlazBlue a chance again. And I started just having a fondness for Arc System Works. But that's when they announced BlazBlue Crawl's Tag Battle. And right then and there, I was a fan. After Dragon Ball FighterZ and then BlazBlue Crawl's Tag Battle, definitely want to play it some more. I want to get back into it again. Hopefully there's still a community for it and everything. But they just started growing on me as a company, and I actually started enjoying their games and appreciating the lot of quality and a lot of effort they put into their games. And then Under Night In-Birth is another good game they have made as well. I'm just hoping they roll back netcode that game to death too. I'm waiting for that because I definitely want to get into that game as well. But BlazBlue Crawl Tag Battle on Dragon Ball FighterZ really changed my perspective on Arc System work, and it seemed like they just want to give the fans what they want. And they also showed that, hey, you don't have to just stick to Capcom and their fighting games, because Capcom was really disappointing a lot of players at the time, especially with Street Fighter V at the very beginning, and then Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite that they were doing at the time. Many people was looking for alternatives. A lot of people would complain about what Capcom is doing, but they wouldn't jump ship. They still stayed loyal to Capcom and wouldn't pretend that there's no other fighting games out there that exist. And which is why I also give SNK some credit with Samurai Showdown, which I'll do a separate video with SNK as well, and also with what they're doing with King of Fighters 15. I really appreciate what they're doing with that, to give players that, hey, you don't have to just wait for Capcom to release a new game, or Bandai Namco. There are also other alternatives, and Arc System Works had really proven themselves. And then what really drew me in was Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I know nothing about the Grand Blue franchise at all. I know nothing about Grand Blue, but I just love how sick their character designs are, and that's what really drew me in. And then now that I know that Arc System Works was backing this and developing this game, I had nothing but faith. They had pretty much created built-in goodwill with the community, and they guaranteeing some quality when it comes to their series, and I was all on board with this. So when Grand Blue Fantasy Versus came out, I dived onto it right away. And it's a shame that during the time the game released, the pandemic had dropped and had happened, and then the game had never really had a chance to really get its stuff off the ground. But now we do have Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising, which I'm definitely going to invest a lot of time in actually playing. They just revealed a new character named Siegfried they're going to be adding to the game, so this is a perfect time for me to actually dive into it. And I think this is going to be one of the fighting games I will main, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising. And I'm gonna get into another video when it comes to fighting games in general, about all the games that's coming out, and I just can't play them all. But Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is another game that I'm looking forward to, and it seems like that, hey, they also see faith in this project as well. And they really want to push this game, and they also trying to create their own circuit, their own league, so it makes sense to want to build a catalog of games. And what I give them the most credit for is that they went back to their old titles and decided to give them rollback netcode, and I think that's perfect. I think that's what the fighting game community needs, is because it allows a lot of players who didn't grow up in the era where these fighting games was a thing, to now they can go back and actually appreciate these fighting games with better netcode, because we go into this more digital, online, this internet type of age where people's not meeting physically to in one place anymore, and it's much easier to just go online and be able to play with other players. But you need this type of connection, you need this type of netcode to allow you to be able to play seamlessly as if you're playing locally in front of somebody, so for them to go back and just do rollback netcode to titles such as their Guilty Gear games, then also Blaz Blue, and then we also had Blaz Blue Cross Tag Battle. And they just going down a list of just add and rollback netcode, which keeps a thriving community, creates an Arc System Works ecosystem. And then of course Dragon Ball FighterZ getting rollback netcode. You can't go wrong with any of these choices that they're going with, and I think this is the smartest move they could possibly do, is because you're creating more and more Arc System Works fans, and you're creating a big I guess, like I said, ecosystem where players can just hop from one game, jump into another, and they have a choice in what games they want to play, you know, within the Arc System Works, I guess you say, universe, I would say. And then we had DNF Duel, which is another title, and I would say Arc System Works had pretty much published, you know, as well, and that's a pretty fun game. I have it for PC. I haven't really played it as much. I haven't really been playing video games in general as much because of my workload and a lot of things I've just been working on. But DNF Duels, from what I've played, the bit that I've played ever since I played the beta and purchased the game, you know, myself, I find that game fun too. It's really, really fun. So the thing is, Arc System Works, I want to just tip my hat off to these guys, and also for those who love the Guilty Gear Strive as well. They still kicking and showing support for that game. And you know, I just want to say that, yo, like, I appreciate Arc System Works. They've done a good job, and they allow me to see the light that I don't just have to play Capcom games or Bandai Namco games. I can go over here to these alternatives, and they've been doing a really, really good job with these games. So all I want to say is kudos, and I'm looking forward to what other new projects that Arc System Works may have in the works. I would love to see another Under Night In-Birth or something like that, but they have done a good job. I'm proud of them, and I'm looking forward to see what they have next in store. I would love to see a My Hero Academia or maybe a Naruto game, or they'll probably do One Piece or Bleach or something, but I would love to see one of those games made by Arc System Works so we can eventually get a Shonen Jump fighter, you know, once all those type of titles come out. But that's pretty much it. I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment sections below. What do you think about Arc System Works and what they have done for the fighting game community, or just done for the genre in general? And what's your favorite Arc System Works game, you know, of them all? And which one are you currently playing? And which one are you considering to pick up in the future and decide to whether or not you're going to main it and make that your main fighting game title within the Arc System Works ecosystem? So leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like the video, hit that like button, because it definitely helps me out in the algorithm, and I really appreciate you guys for coming through my channel and always showing some love. This is MugenLord, sign off. I'll see you Game Fiends later. Peace out.